Hi, I'm Mike,
And I'm Sam.
and this is Wise Words with Dodo Birds. Yeah, my family grew up on generic, foods
Oh,
and
yeah.
house products for sure.
Mostly cereal. Because my dad realized you could get, twice as much cereal for 1.2 times the price.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, as kids especially, never knew the difference. In fact, the Cocoa Dino Bites, those are better than Cocoa Pebbles.
Best in class.
It's not the same recipe.
No.
It's a different recipe. And they're thicker. I'm praising Dino Bites right now, but really they were I went back to Cocoa Pebbles some years later, and this is garbage.
I think most of the internet would say that Dino Bites are S tier.
Yeah,
they're a top tier cereal.
They are. They're the winners.
I mean, I don't care if Fred Flintstone is the fucking face of the other one. You got nothing.
No, they're just not as good. Especially the fruity versions.
I actually think it's kind of funny that the generic version is called Dino Bites, but Fred Flintstone in the cavemen were the mascots of the other one. So still in the...
They were absolutely we're making Cocoa Pebbles, but better, and we're just going to call them Dino Bites.
Yeah.
So that they're in the same realm. They didn't hide it at all. They were but the fact that they did it better. Welcome back, Dodo Birds. It is episode 34? Yeah, it's episode 34. Me and Mike are just hanging out today. We actually haven't seen each other for a few days now. Big part of it is because I've been sick. Just caught a cold.
He has the ick.
Yeah, and it was not fun. It's been very nasally, drippy. It's gross stuff.
I think it's crazy that you go the whole winter, healthy, radiant, a beacon of health. But in the summertime, when you want to use that health,
I catch something.
Yeah,
it's. I feel like I can't even attribute it much to seasonal change, though, because we're past that part of the season now.
Yeah.
So I have no idea.
Yeah, because if it's springtime, maybe you're getting pollen.
Everybody catches a little something in the spring and the fall, when the it's warming up, cooling down. In the middle of summer.
With the way you were down and out, too, it wasn't just fucking allergies.
No, yeah, it was definitely, this was a cold. It didn't feel quite like the flu. I don't think I was running a fever at any point.
You had a hot cold because it was 90 degrees.
Yeah. Well, and there was a day where I was sitting in my car with no air conditioning on or anything like that, and the sun, and it was just and normally that feels really good around here to me, but that day I was sweating in the sick way, not in the it's hot way, you know? But it was also hot, so it was I don't like this. As soon as I went inside, got in the AC, I started feeling better. But it was I forget how much more sensitive we are to temperatures whenever we get sick.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you think people could use, how wrestlers try to lose weight for to
make their class?
Yeah, to make weight or whatever.
Yeah.
Do you think you could just give them influenza, put them in a fucking sauna for 3 days?
I mean, that would do it, but
you also have
safer ways.
Yeah.
But I bet it would work. Especially,
you're just wrapped in a Mylar blanket.
I mean, my appetite's been down. You definitely don't eat as much.
Yeah, and if we could throw some Imodium or something in there to just make you shit out.
Yeah.
You'll be losing liquids.
We're just gonna clear your system out real quick.
Yeah,
just a quick cleanse. That's all.
I've always wanted to pull the laxative prank on a friend, but it's pretty mean.
That's pretty. You don't pull that on a friend. You pull that on an enemy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got to be careful with that because that's you could create a nemesis.
That's what I'm saying. You use it on somebody who's already headed in that direction anyway.
Yeah, and you're not going to see him much.
You could give a fuck what it does to him. It's just no regrets. Yeah. Have you seen Dumb and Dumber?
Yeah.
He did it to his buddy. Granted, it was for lying to him and the woman stuff. Such a stupid movie. Great movie. Great film.
They're making a new one.
Well, no.
They're rebooting, yeah.
But they already made one reboot, and then they made like a prequel
A sequel,
and then
yeah.
they made a sequel, and none of it was good. So
Yeah.
I don't care.
I think Dumb
Really.
and Dumber was fine.
That's two.
Yeah.
Fine is the best word to describe. It had a couple of minutes like
Mhm.
that made me laugh hysterically, like when they first get back from the joke, the 25. Oh, when they get back from Lloyd being in the nursing home and they're just crossing the street and they're just talking about something. The second they step onto the sidewalk, a bus going like 80 miles an hour just right behind them. It was so great. I laughed so hard.
I like the bit with what's the dude from American Family Video, AFV, or the funny video show. He was in Full House too. It doesn't matter,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
like I like the scene where he just like gets the chocolate bar all over the bathroom.
Yeah,
It's like there's shit on the walls. It's supposed to be like meeting, his like wants to be girlfriend's
right.
parents. He's trying to make like a good impression. He gets chocolate all over their bathroom.
Chocolate. It would smell good at least. It would smell better than.
I mean, that would probably be like my first. Yeah, like I don't know if I saw my bathroom wrecked with brown goo
That you'd be concerned with.
I don't know if I'd smell it. Like,
well,
I don't know if I'd go in there.
Here's my thing. If I couldn't smell it, I'd be suspicious. You know what I mean? Like if
Yeah.
there's just brown all over my bathroom, but it smells fine. You know what I'm saying? It's like this bathroom should stink like shit right now. Why doesn't it?
Not all shit stinks all like there's levels.
It all stinks, bro.
I
Once
mean,
it's smeared on the walls. Look, this happened at the place I work.
yeah, but like
once it's on the walls.
Do you think the smell is like if you spread it out? Because I've actually never like taken a loaf and spread it over a floor or something. Like, does that dissipate the smell?
Let me put it
or
like
is it
this.
in the concentrate of the log?
Let me put it like this. If we're gonna go there, if a cat takes a shit in a litter box and doesn't bury it, you can smell it a lot more. But if it's not in water or buried, if it's just out everywhere, it's so much stronger.
Yeah, but it's not like spread out, It's in concentrated form.
We're talking about a room caked in it, though.
Yeah.
You're gonna smell it.
Yeah, probably.
I'm on that side of this argument.
That's fair, and I think it's a rational side to be on.
Yeah. It was a great thing to wonder, though. But I think especially if there was enough of it to smear all over it probably doesn't smell the greatest. It probably wasn't one of those.
Stay
ghosts.
tuned for that experiment where we take a cat turd and I don't know how we like measure smell other than arbitrary like, but. Yeah, we'll just spread it out.
Mike is going to be performing that particular experiment, and he'll let us all know how it goes.
Well, as far as experiments go, you had a little bit of an experiment with.
It wasn't a deliberate experiment. It was okay. So we're going to move on.
The greatest science sometimes is not deliberate.
Yeah. Well, okay. So I've had this cold, and I went to the store to get what I had been taking for symptoms: daytime cold and flu, daytime, nighttime cold and flu. And I was just going to buy the generic stuff. That's what I usually do. I'm fine with it. It's the same thing, right? But I had been taking that stuff, and I took it that morning. Went to the store, and there was like an old man sitting in one of the motorized
a rascal
carts. Yeah. Yeah, and he was a veteran. He clearly had some problems with one of his legs, and I don't want to be like impatient and like, so I don't want to like move, or go. So I just grabbed the non-generic Dayquil, NyQuil, and I took the Dayquil stuff when I got home, bro. It worked better. I'm just like I have no evidence other than the difference in. Like, cause like, you feel like shit when it wears off. So like in the morning, I felt like shit, right? You feel like shit every morning, right? When you're sick.
Yeah.
But I take the stuff and it dulls the symptoms, right? It starts to wear off by the time I go to the store later that day. And I'm back to feeling just like I felt in the morning, with fucking dripping and My eyes are tearing up,
I'm
popping
curious
ears.
if it is like the same active ingredients.
I'm
In post, we'll give you an answer.
I was gonna say
Yes or no.
I'm almost certain it is.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not even necessarily on the side of like it works better, but it worked better.
And I know like placebo isn't really in the equation because you wouldn't really give a shit about that. Like you're not like, oh, it's NyQuil, this is the good stuff.
Right.
Like,
No,
like
usually I get the other stuff. Again, this time I just got this because there was an old man in the way.
yeah,
That's the only reason I did it. And I really wasn't thinking about it at all, but when I took that, like instead of like, so like I had drippage, right? And when I took the generic stuff, it like clogged up my nose, so it helped. It did do something.
uh-huh.
But when I took this stuff, the drippage stopped and it cleared my nose. It was just such a noticeable difference. It was like, because I could breathe now, you know what I mean? And when you're like, when you go from not being able to breathe to now being able to breathe, you notice it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. It's not like yeah, like I'm drinking generic Monster Zero, like because I like the white cans so much.
uh-huh.
But I've like cut them out of my life entirely, pretty much, because they're like $3 a fucking can now. But like Aldi has like these 98-cent gridlocks that are like the same thing. I would not be surprised if they're produced in the exact same factory,
Right.
canned into a different thing. And I wonder if like the product you got is like the same scenario. Because when I worked for a salad dressing company for a little bit, and they told us that they had like fucking or like I worked at a cheese factory, and this was the same thing where they had like 40 different brands, but it was all the same cheese.
Yeah.
Like just
It's all coming out of the same place.
yeah, just packaged in a different thing.
With a different label.
Yeah, called a different thing.
Yeah.
Like
And this is that's absolutely the case. It has to be because they're the same fucking thing. They've again because whenever I called my brother called me and I kind of had this conversation with him and I was and I had asked him or I told him I was like, what do you think of that? You know, and he's like, I don't know. What do you think of that? Like the generic stuff versus the stuff. And he goes, and after he asked me, I'm just like, I don't know. Do you want to know my thoughts 3 days ago or do you want to know my thoughts now? Because 3 days ago, I was 100%. There is no difference. But in the moment, I was just like, it worked. I feel great today, too.
yeah,
NyQuil versus nighttime cold and flu, I have zero personal data on.
so I think like maybe generic medications. Yeah, I'm not sure. Like because
Also, always consult with a doctor before before using medicine that could be right or wrong for you.
yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure because I think often a lot of generic versions of drugs are literally the exact same, like absolutely the exact same.
Do they
thing.
have this begs a question? They have some generic insulins, right?
Mm-hmm.
And do they more or less do the same thing?
I don't think the formula is the same though.
Yeah.
Like in that case,
I would definitely argue it's not as similar as like cold and flu.
yeah. I think it's like actually a different formula.
Because it's not, right? It's like generic like
It's
insulin.
not as
Like
good,
it'll
no.
get you by if
Yeah.
you'll keep you alive, but
You have
it's
to use
not
a
gonna,
lot more of it.
Yeah, more. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's definitely not as good.
No. But yeah, I think the recipe is actually different. What else? Like, okay, so I was talking about
Right. Aside from medicine.
shampoo. You know,
yeah.
So like, if I would have got, Mary and I've done name brand, and like my hair will look like I look like Trevor from fucking
GTA.
yeah, like the thinning comb over.
Which is actually how Stephen Ogg, the actor who plays him, looks.
Yeah, that's cool. They mocap his hair.
All three of the guys. They're a little, they changed them a little bit.
Yeah,
But they're more or less the guys.
they just put like tiny little mocap dots on each follicle.
I wonder if they did.
No, they didn't.
No, probably not his hair. No.
Did you grow up with generic foods in the house?
Some, for sure, especially cereals.
Where did your mom or dad? Where did you take a knee on the name brands? Your parents, rather.
Like, where were they willing to go?
Yeah. Like, what sort of things? Like,
I say, I'll tell you
no
one thing.
substitute. Like,
I'll tell you one thing we were never able to. Coke. Coca-Cola. There's no generic soda that matches fucking Coca-Cola. Like, yeah, there's some. This tastes kind of like Coke.
Yeah.
But like, you just can't do it.
You don't fuck with RC Cola.
No.
Or have you ever tried the Fago Cola?
Uh-uh.
As a cola guy, maybe you should, because it's like
Fuego.
Or
did you say Fago?
Fago.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've never even heard of that.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, let me rephrase. If I did, I just don't remember it. It was never something that stuck out in my mind.
It's a drink of the Juggalos. It's also like a pretty D&D synonymous drink as well. It's cheap. But it's a pretty good cola.
Okay.
But
my problem was I was like raised
Are you a
on
Pepsi?
that.
Are you a Pepsi guy?
Not really, but you can't find a substitute for that either.
Yeah.
And I don't even particularly like Pepsi, but I know something that is objectively its own secret recipe when I taste it.
So Coca-Cola is your drink.
It is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want to do one of those blind taste tests? I mean,
yeah.
I'm about to ask you something that it's on the internet, so I know you haven't seen it. But like, like where they have like a box and they'll put let's say you're at this table and there's a box in front of you, but the camera is shooting and it can see which drinks you're sipping the straw out of. So it's just a straw out of a box.
Oh, okay.
But from your side, you don't know which one it is.
Right.
It's just 1,
just
2,
go up to
3,
each
4,
straw.
5.
Yeah.
And then like I would be curious if you could choose Coke. Like if we could try to find like
I could.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it, dude.
Yeah.
I bet I can.
I would love to do that. That'd
Not
be
when
fun.
I'm sick because I can't taste much of shit right now. But yes, that would be great, dude. I'd have fun with it. I think it would make a decent episode or part of an episode.
Yeah, my family grew up on generics.
That sounds way better than hitting a garbage vape.
That's not a punishment, though.
No, I know, but it's just like a thing. It sounds like a better thing.
It's a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, my family grew up on generic like foods and house products for sure.
I forgot to I didn't even actually answer your question, by the way. But like a couple of the big things was mostly cereal because my dad realized you could get, twice as much cereal for 1.2 times the price, and honestly, as kids especially, never knew the difference. In fact, the Cocoa Dino Bites, those are better than Cocoa Pebbles.
Best in class.
It's not the same recipe.
No.
It's a different recipe. And they're thicker. I'm praising Dino Bites right now, but really they were like, I went back to Cocoa Pebbles some years later and it's like, this is garbage.
I think most of the internet would say that Dino Bites are S tier.
Yeah.
Like they're a top tier cereal.
They are.
Like
they're the winners.
I mean, I don't care if Fred Flintstone is the fucking face of the other one. You ain't got nothing.
No, they're just not as good. Especially the fruity versions.
I actually think it's kind of funny that the generic version is called Dino Bites, but Fred Flintstone in like the cavemen were the mascots of the other one. So like still in the...
They were absolutely like, we're making Cocoa Pebbles, but better, and we're just going to call them Dino Bites.
Yeah.
So that they're in the same realm. They didn't hide it at all. They were like, but the fact that they did it better, like that's the part that for sure. So that's a winner. I'll tell you what though, one that seems more or less the same. Honey O's versus Honey Nut Cheerios. Those two, like, you're really more or less getting the same thing.
I don't know if there's a lot of innovation you can do in the lightly honey flavored cereal realm.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, like, you can't really reinvent the wheel there.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
What about as far as like household products, cleaning, or like garbage bags?
Oh, dish soap.
Were you a Glad family?
Garbage bags. It's for me. Brand doesn't matter so much as having that thing around the rim that closes up the bag.
Yeah.
Any brand, if it has that, I'm good. But so generic or not, I don't know. But dish soap,
Mm-hmm.
like Dawn, greater than Ajax.
Yeah.
Hands down.
Yeah.
It's just clean. You don't have to use as much of it. It fucking smells better. It's just overall.
See, our family probably differed like in that aspect.
Oh, my family got
generic,
Ajax.
all generic food, but like my mom was always like you get the name brand stuff on stuff like that. Dawn, yeah, like, and I still use that philosophy. I bought generic garbage bags a couple weeks ago, and like I actually just used one yesterday, and it fucking ripped right in my kitchen.
Oh, really?
Like I got
Fuck
it.
that.
I got it 6 feet, like, and it just fucking tore
Dude,
open. And it wasn't like a garbage bag full of knives.
Well, I guess when you point that out, then, because I do buy Glad, but I never thought about it. Like, I just know they're good.
Yeah.
Like, but I guess some are,
It does make it different.
and fucking shitty.
Yeah, real thin. Like,
because I buy good ones, so I never think about that anymore.
Yeah.
I'm done with that, dude. Last thing I want is fucking trash. Yeah.
See, I would like
adorning my kitchen.
Yeah, I like I want quality where it counts, you know.
For sure.
With taste, I'm not like a picky guy, so
yeah, like especially when it comes to seasonings, you can get a generic seasoning. It's all gonna be more or less the fucking same.
Another thing you don't want to like go generic with is vitamins.
Really?
I don't know if you know much about vitamin game, but
Not
like
much.
when you see, so if you go to a fucking Walmart and you get like Nature's Touch or Nature's Valley, like let's say you're getting a once a day men's vitamin. If you look at like the generic and the name brand, flip over like the nutrition facts. One will say like B12, vitamin D, blah 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 blah, and the other one will say B12 as hydrocarbonate, blah 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 blah.
Whoa.
Like
yeah.
And so they use a lot of synthetic, like
Isn't the whole point of taking vitamins to kind of avoid that shit?
And so the thing is, well, yeah, I mean it's all chemical. Like they created B12 or whatever the vitamin is, but your body doesn't absorb it at a high enough rate.
Okay.
So you're like, instead of getting, 100% of your daily whatever vitamin, let's say like zinc, you're getting like 10 or 20 or 30% because your body doesn't metabolize it in its synthetic form.
Okay.
So a lot of people will buy like cheaper vitamins and they don't really fucking do anything for you.
Huh. See, I actually don't know the brand, but like some gummies, some orange flavored gummies. They're probably not even vitamins, huh?
Yeah, probably not.
Well, and let me be clear, actually.
You're probably overpaying for gelatin.
Well, that's also a recent development because my sister had some and I liked them. Surprise, surprise. Before that, I can't remember the brand, but I was just buying pill vitamins.
Yeah.
Like men's health.
Yeah, that's one thing you want to like pay attention to. There's a reason that the name brands are more expensive. Like,
yeah.
Like, 'cause sometimes quality is like the reason they're more expensive. It's not just the name brand associated with it. Where
that's what got me wondering about this in the first place with the Dayquil and nighttime, because I was 100% certain. I went to Walmart. I was like, I'm getting the daytime, not the Dayquil. Again, old man in the way, so I grabbed the Dayquil and it fucking. I was like,
next time,
what?
Next time, flip that bitch over and check out the nutrition facts. I'd be very curious.
I think I do want to follow
because,
up
like, even if it is the same ingredients, I wonder on the concentration.
Yeah, because that's the part that comes to mind is like maybe it's just like more concentrated in the quills.
Because like, is it gofacin?
Ooh,
I'm not gonna pronounce it. It's a big G, like ingredient in cough syrups, but that's like the thing that is the most for cough suppressant. Like,
I think that I think I know what you're talking about. Again, not gonna try to pronounce it, but could be. Especially because there's a ton of that in the stuff that Lil Wayne used to drink.
Nah, that's a different type.
That was different.
What about yeah, you're not getting lean at Walmart.
Yeah.
What about like clothes or shoes growing up?
Definitely never got, and I didn't really care about clothes a lot as a kid, and so I'd get Walmart clothes and stuff like that. Um, I didn't care, never mattered. It was only once I started getting older, grew up, started, and it wasn't that my parents wouldn't buy me nice clothes if I really wanted them. I just didn't care. So they
Yeah.
got me the, basic shit that I asked for. And then as I got a little older, I like started buying nicer threads. And yeah, I kind of started to realize that like it's better to go and get certain kinds of things. Depends, like undershirts, I'm still buying a pack from Walmart.
Yeah, I mean,
As long as they're soft, which they usually are.
I was gonna say it's like underwear. Like, who cares? But honestly, I got a pair of MeUndies once.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
About to say underwear, a little different. Undershirt, as long as it's soft.
yeah.
Underwear, it's like, it's got to be nice.
But that would have been my philosophy. It would have been like, I mean, you just poop or like, you just rub your ass against it. Who fucking cares? Nobody
Right.
sees it. But I got like a pair of like microfobal,
Yeah.
microfodal.
It's an organic soy cotton blend.
Yeah. I had one pair of fancy underwear once, and like, it was pretty nice. Pretty nice. But one thing I like, as far as t-shirts, especially because I'm just ratty and will like ruin shit, out in the yard or whatever. But as far as t-shirts and shorts and stuff, I'm not brand specific but shoes, I'm actually
Yeah.
big time proponent of name brand shoes.
I actually am too. Like right now, I'm wearing Asics, I believe. I have to get good running shoes that are good for flat feet.
Yeah.
Like, I don't fuck around with bad shoes.
Like, growing up, my mom would get like Walmart and, pay less shoes and stuff like that. And because I walk so much, I would I would literally,
Yeah.
like, until I was like 20 years old, I was like, yeah, you just get 4 pairs of shoes a year. Like, because you rip through them, right?
Yeah.
Like, and everybody's like, no, what? Like, you're buying 4 pairs of shoes a year?
No,
Like,
dude.
yeah, like,
That's not
I'm
normal.
getting rain in the bottom of them. It's like, you shouldn't.
You shouldn't be.
I was like, yeah, well, I walk a lot. That's why. It's like,
no.
Right. But
A good pair of shoes should last you at least a year.
at least a year. Yeah. And I like, now I go to the Nike outlet store.
Okay.
You ever been to an outlet store?
I don't.
So it's
I
like
don't know.
it's not like Bent and Dent, but like they're discontinued lines.
Okay.
Or they're just stuff that like sits on shelves for a while.
Nobody that they couldn't sell.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're trying to sell it somewhere else.
But like the irony of that is like you're getting rare stuff because they don't even sell it anymore.
Right.
And it's been sitting in a warehouse for a year and a half before somebody put it on this shelf.
Yeah.
And so like you're getting like stuff people can't even buy anymore. You're getting it at way like cheaper prices.
Super deflated price.
Yeah. So I'll buy like I'll buy like one pair of shoe every 1 or 2 years.
One pair of shoes.
Yeah. Shoe. No, I get one.
No, I
wear 2 different sizes.
One pair of shoe.
Yeah, I just give the left of the 11 to somebody outside.
I buy 2 right shoes and wear them on both feet. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're fine. What else? What else for generics and name brands?
But I want continuing on the shoe thing for a minute. I actually didn't. I was insane. I would for a long time not wear boots in the wintertime here because
that is insane.
It took a long time for me to first off realize that they had them, and then again once I had some extra let me finish.
That they had boots,
not boots. Boots that are good for flat feet. That have
okay, got you.
Yeah. I should have finished what I was saying, but like
it's like you realized.
And then
boots,
basically, you just. I had no idea, man. Like,
it's like, dude, have you seen these
have
things?
You heard of these? Like, they probably like.
It's
boots,
like made for the winter.
Yeah, but it's like, Sam, boots existed hundreds and hundreds of years before shoes did.
Yeah,
like boots used to be all you could wear.
Yeah.
But no, I didn't realize they had them for flat feet, and so I invested in some of those, and yeah, for a long time though, I just skated on boots because
you can get insoles for flat feet too,
and I have those. I have some that were actually made by an orthopedist, I believe is what they're called, foot doctors.
Yeah, I wonder if those are a scam too. Like,
They measure your feet and make them perfect for your size. And they're
no, they don't.
well, they did.
Not a fucking chance.
But
They're just grabbing some out of the closet and they're like,
I don't know. It took
6A, 2B.
It took weeks to get them. I got them when I was 14. They're probably too small now.
Dude did not make a 3D model of your feet, and
That's exactly what they did. They like literally had me sit in a chair and they like did molds of my feet.
really.
Yeah. Like my mom took me to this
Do you
doctor.
still have them?
Yeah, they're in there right now, but they're too small because I got them when I was 14.
Oh, yeah.
They still work better than like anything I can buy in a store because that's the thing. I still have them now. They still work. They've lasted this long, and they really like. Anytime I try to put a shoe on without them in there, I notice it significantly. Tried using
so
other
maybe,
ones,
maybe the
but
name
they
brand
also
wins there too.
well, I say they don't fit very well in like skate shoes or whatever. You can't put these things like you have to get some kind of running shoe or something that they fit well in, and yeah, it's very noticeable. My back will start hurting a lot faster if I don't have good shoes on my feet and good inserts.
Yeah, for sure.
I need to get new ones though. I have inserts in my shoes that are older now than I was when I got them.
What else is there? Generic in name brand. Electronics?
Yeah, lapel mics.
No.
That's one thing. The TikTok mics?
Yeah, I mean, but like the newer ones we got are not like name brand.
No, but they're
Not-
significantly better.
Yeah.
But are they just I guess, is that still generic though? Well, because
Yeah.
I'm still thinking like they were better or whatever they were. Like we put forth the extra cash.
Well, yeah, you gotta think about like name brands. You know, you have your Glad and stuff
All right,
like that.
microphones then. Just microphones in general. Shure is
We're using generic microphones.
I was just about
currently.
to say. And how much worse? Like we've talked. I don't think we've ever talked about on the podcast. How much better is the ones that we want? Because they're apparently like $310 better, $300 better. But how much better are they?
Depends on the user, but like,
And what you're using
in
for?
my hands, 30-40% better at least.
Okay.
Um,
Well, plus also, so like if you wanted to use these to record music, or would you want to rather use one of those?
I mean, they're just better microphones. So
They are.
like,
Okay.
yeah. I mean, like,
So what brand are these?
Fifine.
Do they have $400 versions of the their version of the SM7B?
No,
No?
because they don't make the same condensers.
Okay.
Like, the way that the mics are designed
So
is
then-
different.
So then there is a actual different formula for
Yeah.
microphones.
Yeah, they're not like, but there are knockoff SM7Bs out there
That suck.
that sound like this.
Yeah,
That-
but
They're fine, but like
how much you pay for?
you're gonna pay
$200?
$250, $300 still
Yeah,
instead of the $400 for the actual one.
and get
Like-
something of this quality.
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is
Where
what-
these are like $80, $100 mics.
$100,
Yeah. Yeah, but like electronics, for me, it's all about the specs. What is it made out of? What does it have? And what does that compare to the name brand? So like with these mics, like just looking at the SM7B and then like the inside of these, they look way different. You can tell that there's something else going on. But with a TV or something like that, like I don't know that I would ever get like a Sony or an LG or like a name brand television, because the specs, even though maybe it's 10% better, maybe even 20%, maybe brighter or something,
Like there is room to admit, like, yeah, it's better, but
but you're also paying 3 times as much, you
right
know, like
for what? You know,
yeah.
for this much improvement, paying this much more money for this much improvement.
And I think with tech being so competitive nowadays, there's a lot of companies that are just making really equivalent generics, you know? Like, I have a pair of Beats headphones, the expensive, the studio ones. Those were $300. I
Those
didn't
are
pay
the Dr. Dre ones.
Yeah,
right?
I didn't pay $300 for them, but that's how much they were. Like our retail,
right.
you know?
That's how much they're worth.
they're garbage.
Really?
They sound shit, dude.
Because I've heard people praise them, but I wonder if they're just doing that because they like Dr. Dre.
It's the same reason they like Mac stuff. Because they're uneducated, they're stupid, and they like, oh, they just
It's
work.
the big thing.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
it's a fashion statement. It's like not a...
It's not actual performance.
Yeah.
It's not quality.
Yeah. Our $20 Tascams sound better.
As good, yeah, if not better. Really, they sound better.
They literally sound better.
As $300 Beat cans.
It wasn't like, it was so noticeable that I wasn't being nitpicky. Like, right off the jump, I was like, these sound bad. And yeah, they just don't sound good. They peak. Like, there's also a lot of mid-range. They mix your fucking music. I don't want that. Like, they add a lot of mid-range to the things you listen to.
Oh.
And a lot of speakers do that.
Okay.
But like, for dummies.
Oh. Really?
Yeah. Like most speakers do that. If you have a Bluetooth speaker at home, it's adding a bunch of mid-range because those are like the most of the things that you hear. So they bump that up so you can hear it louder and better.
So the Beat headphones do more of that?
Yeah, like
Okay.
you could hear it
Like
when
significantly noticeable.
even when I wasn't like an audio guy. I could notice that they're like lacking on the low end, and like all of the highs and stuff would sound really like either get lost in the mix. And so it's just bad engineering. It's bad, like...
Yeah, and I was saying, people were like idolizing those things for being next level.
Yeah, it's just a propaganda.
Yeah.
Which is like, I think kind of brings us to the whole thing here, is that like sometimes brands get you with
hype.
The Stanley Cups. I know you don't know about it because it's on the internet, but do you know the Stanley Cup phenomena of
break it down. Unpack it a
so
little
there, Stanley Cups they were the working man's coffee cup in the 1940s up until today, or like up until a few years ago, and they rebranded to look a little bit more like a Yeti, but they have like a little bit of a different design. Not much. It's a cup, right?
It's a coffee
But they
cup.
have become such a like cultural zeitgeist, or like their statement piece. You got to have a Stanley Cup. Like fucking middle schoolers get bullied, like literally. Like there's girls that go home and like feel bad because they can't get the Stanley Cup. And so like as soon as some Zoomer or like millennial took over the marketing campaign of Stanley and was like, now these are a statement piece, like they're a brand, when you could, like I read a thing about like a kid literally getting beat up because he had a generic Stanley Cup.
Like an old one?
No. He had like a knockoff. He had a knockoff that he got from Walmart. They look exactly the same. They feel exactly the same. It's
and
a
he
cup.
got beat up for it.
Yeah, and like people picked on him and fucking like...
It's a cup.
Yeah, like, and so I think brands have a way of leeching onto the masses.
Well, and especially in a situation like that, like that's all just bullshit. You know, there's no more like your generic Stanley Cup. Like, what's the difference I could see? The practical one, maybe one's more likely to break, less likely to break.
They're made of steel.
Yeah,
both of them.
Yeah, so like at the end of the day,
it's literally a propaganda.
Yeah,
like campaign that people bought, and that happens a lot in brands.
Yeah.
Polo shirts. It's a shirt,
right?
Like it's a shirt with a guy on it.
Oh yeah, I had a
It
girlfriend.
cost 15 cents to make in Taiwan. Like, you know, it's silly. Like if you want a shirt, now if you buy a polo shirt for an occasion to look good, but like you know, you can't be held at a standard that it's like it's not good if it ain't polo. Like,
Well, and I made a joke to one of my ex-girlfriends about because she liked the Michael Kors purses.
Yeah.
Those are expensive.
Yeah.
And I asked, I was like, so how does it hold your stuff better than a $15 purse?
Yeah. And why is it any different than all the Mexican knockoffs?
Yeah.
Like,
it's not.
Yeah.
It's got a name on it because, oh, I got the nice one from
I
Michael Kors.
watched a thing about the border. And there was like some white guy outside of the Texas border being like, "Oh, these people are coming in with name brands and they got more money than I do and stuff." And they're just literally coming in with like all the knockoff Gucci's and
yeah.
Because in the places where they're produced, like the actual ones, the knockoffs are just sold on the streets at like nothing.
Yeah.
Like Gucci is like I don't
literally
remember
at a stand.
Yeah, I don't remember specifically where they're produced, but like they're nothing there.
Yeah.
Like the place where they get made, they're like, "Oh, it's just like a bag."
It's a bag. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, but here we're just like, "Oh,
it's a Gucci bag."
Yeah, like
and that kind of shit. Yeah, see. And I think cuz I our friend Ian, who has been on here, I was talking with him about the Dayquil night or Dayquil daytime thing. And he was just kind of like, "Man, don't fall for it, man. Like, it's propaganda." Like, he didn't say that, but that was like the tone that he had. Like, don't fall for it.
I share that sentiment too, but like, I think in this conversation we've kind of come to that functionality plays a big part.
Yeah.
The way when you're choosing generic or name brand, because if it functions better than the generic, it's worth paying the extra. But if it's a status thing, like a Stanley Cup, like
right,
both hold coffee fine.
Yes,
like
exactly. Like especially things that if you're going to consume it in some way, like medicines or foods, that's they have formulas, so they're gonna vary a lot. But like like a shirt, like okay, yes, that shirt might be feel a little bit better when it's snug against you, but at the end of the day, is it worth paying $40 extra?
And you can take the same argument for shoes, but it comes back to functionality.
Yeah,
where
that's a lot.
The soles of a Nike shoe are stronger than a or not New Balance, but like a Payless shoe.
Payless, yeah.
I don't rip through Nikes, like
right. I don't go like mine. Usually they
and so that's functionality. It's a name brand, it's a status symbol, but it's a name brand and a status symbol because of the quality.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I think, like I actually recently got into a Reddit argument this week.
Yeah.
It was pretty spicy. I liked it a lot.
What was the context?
It was Mac.
Mac versus PC or
I
Windows,
finally went
Microsoft.
in on somebody online and he had some good points about it, but it's the essence of this same conversation is that you're paying an exorbitant amount of price due to the branding.
Yeah.
Like they're sleek, they're hot. Everybody's got a MacBook. It's the thing of a creative, and it's literally propaganda.
Yeah.
It's not true. Like they don't offer anything that the competitors offer, and at a much lower price. Like you're paying ultra premium,
and I mean,
and it's like Beats, like you're paying premium price for mid-tier tech.
Well, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I really didn't have Apple back in the day. Like I have an iPhone now. Back in the day, Apple when it came to smartphones, didn't they kind of make like one of the first most user-friendly ones?
Yeah.
And I think that things like that are what but then they've
been visionaries in many fields.
And let's just say that even if they're on the same tier as Microsoft, which I know you don't think they are, but even if they are, the incompatibility, like almost anytime you have a problem with an Apple product, like you got to take it to an Apple store.
Yeah.
Whereas with with Microsoft computers, with every other computer that exists, you could take it to probably like a local place where a guy could be like, "Oh yeah, I know what to do with this." Otherwise, you take an Apple in there, they're going to be like, "No, I can't."
The propaganda is so effective that if you ask people why they prefer a Macintosh computer over a Windows computer, a lot of them, like if you polled 100 people, I bet 70% of them would say that Macs don't get viruses, which is a thing that like started in the late 90s. There was like just a little like rumor or
I
propaganda
knew a
thing
guy who said
that
that.
still is like touted today, and it's fictional. It's completely nothing. Like that's not true at all. Like Apple's been innovators in many spaces. The iPhone was a big deal. AirPods were a big deal, actually. Like however, like IBM and Dell were big companies too. Or I can't think of some of the other. We've seen a lot of like tech companies come and go throughout the years, and it's just so crazy that like they still have that big, huge like status symbol, like your Gucci and stuff. Like with all the competitors nowadays, like why is Gucci and these premium products still standing?
Yeah, I don't know, because in some cases they're definitely, like you said with Nike, there's a reason. But other ones, it's like, why is this still considered what it is? Yeah, I really
It's
have no
kind of
idea.
interesting that like generic and um premium brands like kind of come and go. Before we wrap up, like, can you think of a generic brand that became premium? I don't know if I can't think of one. Skull Candy headphones, where they were like, they were the equivalent of like those Walmart controllers you would get for an Xbox. They were there more like mid tier. People didn't really take them that seriously, but I think they've had like a big, um, they've had a big impact in like past years. They've really like grown in reputation.
Yeah, I can't think of anything. Definitely not off the top of my head.
Can you guys think of like a generic brand that has kind of risen beyond the bottom shelf to
Yeah.
maybe somewhere mid tier or,
And honestly, if you want to put, maybe even throw in some generic soda types for our little challenge that we talked about earlier,
yeah,
just to see if I can identify, or if you're like, oh, I got one, I know one that's going to taste close to Coke. I bet Sam can't figure it out. Put it in the comments, and we'll add it to the list.
for sure. It'd be cool to get like 10.
Yeah, yeah. And like I want ones I've never heard of. You know what I mean? Give me some crazy shit.
That'd be cool.
And yeah.
I think, just to wrap up here. So if you're deciding between buying a generic and a name brand anything, look at the functionality. Is the recipe exactly the same? Is the quality of its make the same? How does it feel?
Right.
Like, is there a difference? Is one made of aluminum, the other one's made of steel? That's a functionality difference.
It is.
So maybe it's worth the extra $50. But if you buy $300 Beats headphones and they're both made out of plastic, I'll buy the $30 Tascams.
Yeah.
Like,
and probably get the same sound
with neutral balancing and no mid fucking boost. Because I'm not listening to Britney Spears all fucking day.
I also would like to know if anyone tries it. If you catch a cold, daytime, Dayquil, let me know. Try getting both. Take one in the morning, one in the afternoon.
Alcohol is something we never talked about either. I don't know if I want to bring it up as we're like
the expensive shit. Yeah, maybe next
finishing
time.
out, but that's another good like taste test. Like if you get, because I watched somebody the other day, like I didn't realize that Kirkland, like Costco, like that Kirkland is the Costco brand, and they make like direct competitors to basically every booze product. Like Seagram's gin,
Right.
they have a Kirkland gin.
Yeah.
Like they have a direct competitor to everything.
Okay.
And so I've actually never really taste tested, like comparison. That'd be fun to do too. Like
I'd be down. I actually almost brought up alcohol. We talked about the soda thing, but I don't want to be punished. So with alcohol, we'll maybe do like a, just like a light taste. Like I don't want to be doing shots.
A little sip. Yeah. I mean, like you're not going to get science out of me after 2. Like,
well, you never know. Just might be a different kind of science.
Well, yeah, it's not that testable. Well, that is the value of NyQuil. Sam is still sick. It has not cured his AIDS.
Did not get data on NyQuil. Only Dayquil and daytime.
Okay.
NyQuil to be continued.
To be continued.
And we'll talk more about alcohol. We might do the test.
Yeah, that'd be fun. I'm curious what you guys have to say. What generic brands do you swear by, and what name brands do you swewer by? It has to be.
And what name brands do you think are absolutely not worth the fucking hype?
Yeah, yeah, I'm curious. I really do want to know. Like, what do you think is something that's overhyped, just as like a status symbol, you know?
Yeah.
And doesn't like actually hold weight in the competitor space. This has been a fun one. We really appreciate you guys watching, listening. Do the YouTube stuff, like and subscribe. Show the show to your friends. It really does matter to us. Like, it means a lot to us. We really appreciate it.
Go back and watch some old episodes.
Yeah. Not too old, but
don't watch the first one.
Yeah. You can if you want. See how far your boys have come.
No, go watch the Thanksgiving episode. It's like our lowest viewed episode. I don't even remember what it's about.
Yeah, beef up the numbers for us.
Yeah.
But we appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Toodaloo.
Ta-ta.